Kapag sinabi po ba natin na key officials who have been with the OVP for so long a time, tama po bang tawagin to na career officials?
Tama po.
During that time, I think she was previously she was the city administrator of.
And would you know how long she was employed as city administrator in Davao?
No, Mr. Chair, I have no
But at
information.
least would you know how long? Would you agree with me if I would say that Yusek Zulaika Lopez and SDO Gina Acosta are well experienced with regards to confidential fund?
I cannot surmise, Mr. Chair, because I have no knowledge of their position or participation in the Davao LG.
This is for the fourth quarter of 2022. Kaka-assume lang po ng opisina ng ating Vice Presidente. And this is for the implementation of the Good Governance Program. Do you confirm this? Mr. Chair, I wish to raise my questions to Ms. Villa Del Rey. Ma'am, you confirm that you are the Chief Accountant of OVP?
Yes, Your Honor.
May we know how long have you been working at the Office of the Vice President?
I was started in the OBP since 1990, Your Honor. I'm already in my 34th year.
1990.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you please share with us who was the Vice President then?
It was still Vice President Doy Laurel, Your Honor.
Doy Laurel.
Salvador Laurel.
My question for you, Ms. Villa Del Rey. Would it be correct to say that during the time of Vice President Duterte, there are two kinds of key officials? One are those who have been with the OVP for so long a time, like you. And the other kind are those who came along with the Vice President, either from Davao City LGU or from her electoral campaign. Would that be correct?
Tama po, Your Honor.
Kapag sinabi po ba natin na key officials who have been with the OVP for so long a time, tama po bang tawagin to na career officials?
Tama po, Your Honor.
And with respect to those who came along with the Vice President, either from the Davao City LGU or from her electoral campaign, are these what we call the coterminous or confidential officials?
Tama po, Your Honor.
Just for the enlightenment of the committee, Ms. Villa Del Rey, can you please cite at least some names of the key officials of OVP who are career officials?
From SG24 Division Head, Your Honor, down to rank and file, Your Honor, all other officials are coterminous or appointed officials.
You said SG24 down to rank and file are career officials.
Tama po, Your
So
Honor.
would it be correct to say that if the officials are higher than SG24, these are the confidential officials?
Coterminous and confidential officials, Your Honor.
What is the difference, if there is any, between coterminous and confidential officials?
For coterminous employees, officials, Your Honor, they are, as I understand din po ito, is within the term po of the current administration or the current Vice President.
And how about confidential officials, if there is any difference?
Same coterminous, Your Honor.
So there is no difference at all between coterminous and confidential officials. As a matter of fact, I have observed that these two terminologies are being used interchangeably. Do you confirm that, Ms. Villa Del Rey?
For me, Your Honor, yes po.
Okay. With respect to the confidential officials or coterminous officials, can you please name some or few officials who were brought in to the OVP by Vice President Duterte?
Based on the positions, Your Honor, we have the Chief of Staff, the Assistant Chief of Staff, the Director for Operations, the Director for SMO, Director for Admin and Finance, and all other coterminous employees under the said officials.
Does that include the Special Disbursing Officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
What salary grade is SDO?
For our SDO, for confidential is, if tama po yung pagkakatanda ko, is SG24.
SG24, but earlier you said if it is SG24 down to rank and file, that is career officials. And if that is higher than SG24, then that will be confidential officials. Can you please enlighten us on this?
There are positions po na SG24, but they are not division heads under career or under permanent plantilla positions, Your Honor. SG24 under coterminous.
How many SDO do you have?
I cannot recall, Your Honor, but we have SDO for various activities. We have SDO for confidential fund.
And you confirm that the SDO for confidential fund is Gina Acosta.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what salary grade is that?
SG24, Your Honor.
SG24 career official,
Non-career po.
non-career official. Ms. Villa del Rey, I understand that in August 2022, the Office of the Vice President requested for augmentation fund, which includes confidential fund. Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, may I refer your question to our budget officer?
Yes, please.
Mr. Kelvin, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I confirm that there was a request to DBM for the augmentation of fund of OVP in August FY 2022.
May we know, sir, how long have you been connected to the OVP?
I have been with OVP since 2014, since former Vice President Binay, ma'am. Mr.
Vice
Chair.
President Binay. So I believe that you are in the best position to answer whether during the time of Vice President Leni Robredo, mayroon din po bang confidential fund nung time ni Vice President Leni Robredo?
There was no confidential fund during the term of Vice President Leni Robredo.
There was no confidential fund during the time of Vice President Leni Robredo. How about during the time of Vice President Jejomar Binay?
I am not a budget officer during that time, ma'am, so I have no knowledge. But per records, I think earlier years of his term, meron pong confidential fund.
Would you be able to enlighten us how many times did Vice President Binay requested for confidential funds during his term?
I cannot give definite answer, ma'am, but upon checking the documents available in the office, there was a series of correspondences regarding confidential fund. However, there is also correspondences reflecting to return or to revert back the release of confidential fund.
There are sources which say that Vice President Jejomar Binay had confidential fund only once. But of course, this is subject to your verification.
I will check, Mr. Chair.
I wish to go back to Ms. Villa del Rey, but I would not mind, Kevin, if you will continue answering my questions. She's temporarily out. Would it be correct to say, sir, since there are no confidential funds during the time of Vice President Robredo, and Vice President Jejomar Binay only had once, would it be correct to say that the career officials of Vice President of the Office of the OVP during the time of Vice President Sara are not used or inexperienced with respect to confidential fund?
I would agree, Mr. Chair. However, we are always guided by certain circulars or guidelines.
And if you agree that the career officials are inexperienced with respect to confidential fund, there being no confidential fund during the time of the former vice presidents, to be particular, Robredo and Pinay. Would it be correct to say that it is the confidential officials of Vice President Duterte who are experienced with respect to confidential funds?
I have no information, Mr. Chair, with regard to the experience of the coterminous or confidential employees of this administration.
Do you know Yusek Sulaika Lopez?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you know where she came from before she assumed her position at the OVP?
During that time, I think she was previously she was the city administrator of.
And would you know how long she was employed as city administrator in Davao?
No, Mr. Chair, I have no information.
But at least would you know how long was she connected with Davao City LGU prior to OVP stint?
I cannot remember, but during the first, I think payroll, of course, attachment of those documents are the service records, but I have no exact or number of years to tell the committee of Attorney Sulaika Lopez as employee of the Davao LGU.
How about Miss Gina Acosta? Do you know her?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you know where she came from?
Same from Davao LGU.
And would you know how long she was connected to Davao City LGU prior to her assumption of office at the OVP?
No, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I just want to manifest that during the previous hearings, we were able to present already before the committee the confidential funds of the city of Davao since 1988. And if my memory serves me right, during the time of then Mayor Sara Duterte, the confidential fund was 420 million, and then it was raised to 460 million until she finished her term as mayor of Davao City. Having this in mind, sir,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
would you agree with me if I would say that Yusek Sulaika Lopez and SDO Gina Acosta are well experienced with regards to confidential fund?
I cannot surmise, Mr. Chair, because I have no knowledge of their position or participation in the Davao LGU.
Let us proceed to the fiscal and financial plan. I hope you are in the position to answer this. May we request the Secretary to please flash the fiscal and financial plan. Based on this document, sir, the OVP requested for 250 million confidential funds. This is for the fourth quarter of 2022. Kaka-assume lang po ng opisina ng ating Vice Presidente. And this is for the implementation of the Good Governance Program. Do you confirm this?
I confirm the document, Mr. Chair.
And according to this document, the amount of 250 million confidential funds is supposed to be spent for a period of 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, representing the fourth quarter of 2022. Tama po ba?
I confirm, Mr. Chair.
And to be specific, that would mean October, November, and December of 2022.
I agree,
You
Mr.
confirm?
Chair.
And of course, you are aware also that the entire amount of 250 million was not approved. Am I correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And what was approved by the DBM only was 125 million. Tama po?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Considering that the program that was presented to the DBM for that 250 million is 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, representing the last 3 months of the year 2022. Tama po bang sabihin that with regards to the approved 125 million confidential fund, this is supposed to be spent for a period of 1.5 months, equivalent to 45 days, part of the last quarter of 2022.
I cannot I cannot tell that the amount of 125 million must be spent for 1.5 months, ma'am.
But at least, sir, if we will be basing it on the fiscal and financial plan, which presented the 250 million as expenses to be incurred for the last quarter of 2022, which is equivalent to 3 months or 90 days, if the DBM approve only one half, then it is reasonable to assume that 125 million representing one half is supposed to be spent in one half number of days of the supposed 90 days. And that is 45 days. Is that a reasonable interpretation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think
It
that
is a reasonable interpretation. Of course, we wish to manifest to the committee 250 million po ang request na confidential fund under the Good Governance Program. This is supposed to be spent during the last quarter of 2022. That is 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, and to be specific, the month of October, November, and December of the year 2022. Considering, Mr. Chair, that what was approved was only one half of the requested amount, that is 125 million, I wish to believe that this is supposed to be spent in one half of the presented period, that is 45 days or 1.5 months of the last quarter of 2022. Nonetheless, Mr. Chair, during our previous hearings, it was established already, and I wish to confirm this from our resource speaker, that that 125 million confidential fund of the OVP was spent only within the period of 11 days.
If we will base it on the date of check, I think it is equivalent to 11 days, ma'am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, and can we please flash the next slide? There. The utilization of confidential fund, 125 million, December 21 to December 31, 2022, and that is equivalent to 11 days. Do you confirm this, sir?
I confirm, Mr. Chair.
Now, let us look back to the 16 million portion of the 125 million confidential fund, which was used in the maintenance or rental of safe houses. This was liquidated by the use of 34 acknowledgement receipts. Do you confirm this?
I cannot confirm, Mr. Chair, because I have no participation or knowledge with regard to the disbursement or the liquidation of the
I
confidential
understand.
funds.
Can we go back to Ms. Villa del Rey? Ma'am, can we confirm that the 16 million portion of the 125 million confidential funds was liquidated by way of acknowledgement receipts, 34 acknowledgement receipts representing rental of safe houses?
I cannot confirm, Your Honor, since I have no personal knowledge on the disbursement and utilization of confidential fund.
Do we have a resource speaker who have knowledge about this acknowledgement receipt? There is none.